Welcome to the Abrams Dicta YouTube channel. Subscribe today and join me, David Abrams, as I explore the world on my Italian scooter and talk about life, law, art, and any other subject that catches my interest. Also, please check out my blog at abramsdicta.com. Although I'm a licensed attorney, nothing here should be taken as legal advice or counsel. If you're looking to contact me professionally, please go to my website, www.dhabramslaw.com. Welcome back to another episode of Abrams Dicta. We're leaving downtown Tallahassee. Going to head north. Finishing up it's been a great day at work, and had a great time today, and it's a pretty day. And I went to the Rotary Club today. They had a speaker there who was from this animal protection agency, and she talked about the problems with combating trafficking in exotic animals, which I found really interesting. And there's really some horrid things that happen to animals, and especially exotic animals that people want to use as pets, or they want to use them in circuses or whatnot. And the numbers on big animals like elephants and tigers and things like that, we really could see within our lifetime these animals disappearing from the wild. So to me, that would be a real shame, and the protection efforts for those are really important. But it got me thinking about an area of law that we don't really talk about very much, that I think is interesting and is really relevant to a lot of our lives, and that is, what are the laws about pet ownership? What are our responsibilities when we own a dog or a cat? And I'm going to focus mainly on dogs here, because that's really where the activity comes up. And I'm a dog owner. I own 4 rescue dogs, and I love my dogs. I've had dogs my entire adult life. I probably have had 10 dogs over the span of my adulthood, and for me, they're family. A dog is not just a pet. They really become part of my family, and I would be lost without my dogs. And I've got a chocolate Labrador Retriever named Banjo, and then I've got kind of a mutt dog named Matza, and we've got another mutt whose name is Baby, and then I've got a big, I think he's probably a Rottweiler, but again, kind of a mutt dog that he lives mainly in the closet, named Benny. And all my dogs are rescue dogs, and they're great. I got them all as adults. I didn't get any of them as puppies, but they're just great dogs. So and part of what's important to me is keeping them safe under the law, and making sure that nothing bad happens to them. Dogs under the law are not, they're not considered family members or anything like that. They're actually considered personal property, just the same as a radio. Now, there are laws that protect dogs and cats against, we can't abuse them and things like that, but you can certainly sell your dog just the same as you could your car, or like say a radio or a stereo. When we file bankruptcy, we list dogs as property. They're part of the personal property that's listed in a bankruptcy. They're given a value of $1. They really don't have much marketplace value, but they have to be listed because they're considered part of your property. And really, I think that the most important thing to know about a dog is that as an owner, you're responsible for what that dog does. If your dog goes out and bites someone, you're responsible for that, and your dog can be destroyed if your dog is deemed dangerous. There's a dangerous dog statute in Florida that is really very, very very permissive on the courts to have your dog destroyed. If your dog gets out, it doesn't even have to bite someone. If it's threatening someone, your dog can be deemed dangerous, and the court will order you to basically keep that dog confined. And there's very strict rules about how dangerous dogs have to be confined, and you don't want it to happen to your dog, because in essence, the rules that the court sets down are so stringent that very few dog owners can actually comply with them, and it usually will end up in the dog being destroyed. It is a decision that's made by a judge. There's, to my knowledge, there's not a right for a jury trial. I did one of these hearings once many years ago down in Wakulla County, and it was very interesting to me because we actually brought in people who testified as to the non-aggression of this dog, and all it took was a couple people coming in saying the dog barked and growled at us, and that dog was deemed a dangerous dog. I felt like the law was unfair in that instance. It was and a lot of times dogs will they will bark and make noise when they're not being aggressive, but not everybody knows this, and it doesn't matter if the person perceives your dog as being aggressive. You could, your dog could be deemed as a dangerous dog, and that's, like I say, for many dogs that's just a death sentence. And your dog is, while all this is going on, your dog is impounded and kept at the pound, and you're going to have to pay the impound fees, and then you're going to have to hire a lawyer. So for most people, once that happens, they can't afford this, and it's a death sentence for the dog. So you really want to keep good control of your dog, because you don't want this. You don't want someone calling in animal control on your dog and to get messed up in something like that. Again, I think it's the law is not very fair in that area. And furthermore, you don't want your dog biting someone. If your dog bites someone, you could be responsible. And if you knowingly keep a dangerous dog, and that dog were to seriously injure someone, or God forbid they killed someone, there are cases where people have been criminally charged for that. And that's not a good outcome in your life, and your dog will, at that point, your dog will be killed. So you want to really take time to socialize your dog and train your dog, and to keep your dog under control. Most cities have leash laws, and even when you're out in a country area, it's not really a great idea to let your dog run completely free. They can be hit by a car. The dog can get lost if it's a wooded area. They can encounter wild animals. Remember, we think about dogs as animals, but remember, they're domesticated animals. They are not wild animals. They do not, know how to protect themselves from all the threats that they might run into in the woods or in the forest. Dogs in Florida here. You regularly hear about dogs being killed by alligators. This area here has tons and tons of snakes, and I've had dogs bit by rattlesnakes here in Florida before, and it's expensive. It's a very expensive treatment, and the dog, the dog doesn't, that my dog that got bit by the rattlesnake, they don't really heal fully. The area where my dog was bit, the skin kind of died, and there was never it never regrew the hair or anything on it. So it's something that if you can protect your dog from, it's a great idea. And again, if you're in an urban area, there's always the threat of your dog being hit by a car. Somebody could steal your dog. So you really want to maintain good control over your dog. There's so many reasons for it. You can, people do regularly plan for dogs in their estates. You can leave money in trust for the dog. If you're someone who you think the dog is likely to live longer than you, it's a great gift to the dog to make plans for who's going to take care of that dog when you're no longer around. And an estate planning lawyer can help you with that. People fight about dogs sometimes in marital disputes. When they're getting a divorce, who gets custody of the dog? And I've actually known people that had really custody agreements for their dogs, where they would share custody of the dog, and the dog would go back and forth between two houses. I don't know that that's something that I would ever personally do. We have this tendency to kind of anthropomorphize dogs and to treat them like they're mini humans, and they're really not. They don't interact with the world the same way we do. They don't interact in terms of relationships the same way we do. They live much more in the moment than human beings do. That's one of the great things of a dog is a dog can really keep you centered. Dog doesn't spend a lot of time worrying about tomorrow. Dog understands to be grateful for today, and that's one of the great things about dog ownership, in my opinion. So anyhow, that's just a few things about the law and dog ownership and pet ownership. I'm sure there's more we can talk about, and if you're interested in this, leave me a comment. Please subscribe to Abrams Dicta on YouTube and check out our blog. Trying to put out some good content for you guys, and I'd love to get some feedback and some likes. And please share this with your friends. I know there's a lot of people out there that they don't know what the deal is with the dogs, and how often do you get to learn about law while you get to drive around a gorgeous town like Tallahassee? So until next time, I'll see you, and take care.